What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Wednesday, July 24, 2024. My name is Chris Drummond. I am a sports reporter, freelancer, also casino host and proprietor of this podcast, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why they do what they do, and who they are outside of their occupation. I got a really special guest that's coming on here. She is Minneapolis based here in Minnesota, like myself. She's been a TV and radio show host. She's been an associate producer. She is been an executive producer. She's also worked with WCCO, which is an affiliate out here in Minneapolis. She is a host of the Refocus podcast that we will talk about. She's worked with the Minnesota Swarm. She's also worked with Major League Baseball. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, beautiful Lindsay Guentzel.
Hi
Hello
there.
there. How you
Hi.
doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh my goodness. Well, now I'm good. I'm good now. I've actually had to switch from computer to my phone. But it's okay. It's all right. We are here. I see you. You look absolutely lovely today. Just
Oh,
want to say that.
thank you. Thank
You're very
you.
welcome. Very welcome. First off, I want to say thank you for coming on to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. I want to ask you, how's your week going so far?
This week has been okay. It's been a little chaotic, but nothing that I can't handle. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me reiterate why I
yeah,
wanted to bring you on here before I start peppering you with all these questions that I have here.
sounds good.
Obviously, you have an abundance of experience working with sports teams like the Minnesota Swarm and Major League Baseball. You also have an experience being a producer, a talk show host, doing radio as well. You're based out of Minnesota, like myself. I'm in Minnesota as well, which is awesome and great. I'm a sports reporter. So I love talking to other people that's in communicative roles that've been hosting, that've been reporting, that've been producing on the radio as well, because everyone has a story to tell, including you. And I would love to hear yours. So it was a no-brainer, Lindsay, for me to reach out to you and talk to you and kind of just share stories and be able to get to know you a little bit.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm so appreciative of getting to be here.
Absolutely. Well, listen, as I always do, this is the first question I ask all my guests on my podcast. It's pretty simple. What is your why? Right? Why do you do what you do? Right? What did you have any role models? Did you have any inspirations growing up? What made you want to get in the media industry business?
That is a great question. And honestly, it's something that I've been thinking a lot about lately. And it took me a long time to come to terms with what the answer actually is. And the reason that it took me a while to get to that is because my answer to some people might sound conceited or that I'm full of myself or that I
Okay.
have an ego. The answer is I love entertaining people, I love connecting with people. I think I grew up really finding joy in that. You know, I was a dancer and I did musical theater and I was in choir and I love to be the center of attention, even
Mhm.
today.
Okay.
I'm a good balance of an extrovert and an introvert, but I think because I am such an extrovert in certain moments and I love to, you know, like I said, connect with people, talk with people. I can start up a conversation with a stranger and have
Yeah.
just like the most wonderful time. And I'm realizing more and more that the roles that I have chosen to pursue allow a lot of all of that. So there's a lot of getting to be in front of the camera or behind the mic or developing projects for yourself or your interests. And then at the same time, you're constantly meeting new people, which is so great for my brain. I was diagnosed later in life with ADHD. And so I'm learning so much more about myself in the last few years.
Mhm.
And that constant dopamine rush of hearing somebody else's new story and getting to connect with them. And I love walking into a scenario and seeing whether it's a sports team or a business or, you know, just a everyday person and
Mhm.
finding the story. What is the story? Everyone
Right.
has a story. You said it, like everyone
Right.
has a story.
Mhm.
And how do you share that? And what ways do you share that? And if you're looking at, a business, so I think sometimes we forget our favorite sports teams are businesses. How do
Yep.
you connect that back to the fan? How do you connect that back to the bottom line? And that's something that I have really worked on in the last few years. And I think my opportunities and the roles that I've created for myself as a journalist, I've really been able to see what works and what doesn't. And that's been so enjoyable.
I love that answer. I really do, because you're describing me. You really are. And this is the reason why I say that is because my personality is someone that I feel like I can start a conversation with anybody on this planet. I feel like you can relate to somebody for something, like one thing in every person that you talk to. Now, it may just be that one thing, but I feel every person that you talk to is relatable in some sense. I also feel like you can be an extrovert and an introvert as a journalist, right? I think all of us love to do this storytelling thing. All of us love to be the center of attention at times, but I can also play the background too. I think it kind of fills out for your environment and where you are and where you at. I kind of adapt to the people that's around me because I've always been a person that wants to put people's other feelings before mine. I want you to be more comfortable than me because I thrive in being uncomfortable, right? Being comfortable, being uncomfortable, if that makes sense to you. Uh,
Absolutely.
But I love doing that. So your answer when you talk about that, no, it's definitely for me. For a person like me, I could totally understand what you're saying about it may sound this way, but no, it sounds absolutely perfect to me because that's exactly the mindset that I have. And you got to kind of have that as a journalist, right? Talking to different people, you got to be outgoing. You got to be like, this is what I was born to do. Kind of that confident attitude, right? So I say all that to get to this next question, which is you went to the University of Minnesota, right?
Mhm.
For your, I want to know, were there any other schools, Lindsay, that you could have been persuaded to instead of the University of Minnesota?
Okay, so I'm probably going to throw a wrench in your plans here in the sense that I don't have an undergrad degree. I did not graduate from the University of Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
When I went to when I was a senior in high school, let's start there. When I was a junior, senior in high school, and you start looking for what the future holds, I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea. And it's going to sound like I'm throwing my parents under the bus, but there was not a lot of guidance. And that wasn't coming just from my parents. There wasn't a lot of guidance at school. There wasn't a
Sure.
lot of conversations happening about what the future could hold. And
Right.
again, I go back, I was diagnosed, I was almost 35 when I was diagnosed with ADHD. So I can look back and see that I was really ill equipped to be in this situation. And I
Mhm.
applied to two schools and I got into both. And I made the decision to go to the University of Minnesota. I had other aspirations. I didn't really look into them. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Had I had the foresight of this might be something you want to go into, I would have totally looked at different programs. I think
Sure.
it's so amazing that people can go to college and know exactly what they want to study and pick a school that has a great program. I think that's asking a lot, though, of 18-year-olds. I think it is so hard at that age to have all of those dots connected. And I was nowhere near being ready, one, to have the freedom, but two, to
Right.
really be in charge of what the future looked like. So when you say, like, could I have been persuaded? Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
It truly is the one thing that I have the most regret over. It's the one thing that I have the most grief over. Not taking advantage of what college could have offered, not exploring all of the opportunities that were there,
Mhm.
not even looking at other schools. And I think we just it's really hard because, and this fits for so many things, we think the world is one size fits all, and what works for one high school senior for the
Right.
future
Right.
does not across the board fit everyone. And I was that generation. Like, you went to college, that there was no ifs and buts about it. It was just like
Right.
you graduated from high school and you went to college. And when I say I didn't graduate from college, it's not because I like dropped out and like went on some crazy path. No, I did so poorly in college that the University of Minnesota told me I was not coming back. And if
Right.
you went to my high school and you told my classmates and my teachers, they would be shocked because I was an A student. I was on the honor roll. I was in every activity, but I got to college and it was a mess because I had no idea what executive function was. And that like
Right.
the expectations that are set on college freshmen. I was at a school that was way too big for me. I was a number in a crowd. It was so easy to skip class. No one was there holding you accountable
Nope.
because literally like there's 50,000 people there.
Yep.
I would have thrived in a situation where it was a smaller school, but I didn't know any of that stuff. So I always come into that like, yeah, I went to the University of Minnesota. I actually did some time also at Normandale Community College, which is a great opportunity for people who want to study some things and figure things out. I will say like it is hard when you're a high school senior because a lot of us want that experience of living in the dorms freshman year and meeting your peers. And you don't
Right.
necessarily always get that at a community college. So you have to weigh things like, do I regret that I went to the University of Minnesota? No, I joke like this chapter of the book is called Thank God I Had Fun. Like, thank
Mhm.
God I had a good time. Because if I were to
Right.
look back and be like, oh, I wasted a lot of time and money and I didn't get a lot out of it in that sense. No, I got so much out of it. Like I'm still so close with people that I met the first week of college and that wouldn't have happened. The path that I'm on wouldn't have happened. So I don't go back and like hold on to that, but there is some sadness there.
Sure. And listen, everybody has those kind of thoughts, right? Well, depending on what your situation is, right? Yours is with the college. It's very hard to, like you said, for an 18-year-old to try to make a decision on where to go. We're still trying to figure out life at that point, right? And I know at 18, which for me was some moons ago, I didn't have it all. I certainly didn't have it all, and I certainly was trying to figure things out. And eventually, as you get older, as I tell people all the time, life starts to slow down a little bit for you when you get older. Because you start to mature, you start to understand, okay, we got to really start making some very smart decisions, like, right, in various categories, whether it's about school, occupation, health, family, all the above. You just really start making some decisions and you learn that it's easier to make those decisions when you get older, right? So everybody goes through it, and I love the transparency that you just gave me. A bonus question came up in my mind because I'm a huge musical theater buff. If it wasn't reporting, I probably would have went into theater because I love theater a lot. What is your favorite three musicals?
Oh, okay. You're putting me on the spot because I
Mm-hmm.
I have quite a few.
I feel
Waitress,
it.
top of the list. Waitress,
Okay.
Sarah Bareilles. I saw her in New York on Broadway. The last stretch she did before they, closed it out for a little bit. I hope it comes back, but seeing her
Right.
perform just blew me away. I have to put Wicked up there. I haven't seen Wicked since, oh God, it probably 2007 maybe, but I saw Wicked senior year of high school on like a trip and it changed me. And so both of
Yeah.
those at the top of the list. Hmm, a third. That is a great question. I have not seen Hamilton yet, so that like when
Oh
I say
man.
my like yeah, I know it's trust
Mm.
me when I say that that is something. I would say oh God, three musicals.
There's so many good ones out there. It's hard to listen to three, but if you
there
if you
I mean, I'm old school. I love Phantom of the Opera. I love 42nd Street. I love Singing in the Rain. I
Mhm.
do love kind of the classic setup of a
Yeah,
musical.
yeah,
Um, uh, the Book of Mormon is amazing and hilarious.
that is
Oh,
that is good.
okay. I've got it now. And this is the one I saw recently. Like if I were to say like, oh gosh, yes, Six, which is the story of Henry VIII and the wives, and it is amazing.
Mm. I have not seen that one yet,
Oh,
but I definitely want to check that one out. I'm a huge Annie lover. Love Annie.
oh, same. Yes,
Um,
God. But can
love
because can I
Annie.
can I can I interrupt on that one for just a second?
Sure,
As a
sure.
child who grew up watching the movie version of Annie, I
Hmm.
have such a hard time with the musical because the storylines don't match up. And the musicals have this much more in the like the president is more involved, like
Right.
there's the shanties, that whole side of it, which is much heavier in the musical version than the movie. And the movie version, because Miss Hannigan is such an amazing character in the movie, she
Hmm.
doesn't get as much snark in the musical, and that's what drives me a little crazy because I
I
want
can understand that.
Miss Hannigan is my like bucket list. Like it would only be community theater because like I'm not that good, but like Miss Hannigan, but like I want to play the drunk Carol Burnett. It's Carol Burnett, I believe, right? In the movie. I'm totally just throwing
It
things out
is.
of my brain. Yes, like the drunk in the bathtub with the drinks, and that
Hmm.
doesn't come across as much in the musical. So that's my little caveat.
I feel it. No, I feel it. No, I would say my top three would probably be Hamilton for sure, which you got to check out for sure. Hairspray
Okay.
is probably one of my all time favorites. The music in there is just amazing, so amazing to me. And then Les Miserables, and that's one I've actually acted in. I've acted in Les Miserables in high school, so I thought I had to drink with me solo. So in high school, so I was like, okay, that's one that I definitely love. But there's a lot of honorable mentions.
Oh yeah.
Probably play. I would love to play. If I had a chance to play in one, Rent would be the one I would love to play. I would love to
Yeah,
play in
Rent is
Rent.
a classic. Rent is a
Mhm.
classic, and the music is so beautiful. And yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm with you on that. All right. So now I want to ask you some favorite things. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you some
Okay.
favorite things, and then you just give me the 411 off the rip. Okay. So here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
I really like to make, it sounds so bland right now. I'm really into green beans. I boiling green beans and a little butter and salt. It's like my go-to.
Okay. Now listen, green beans is good. I'm more of a spinach person when it comes to the green vegetables, but green beans is really good. I like that. Okay. Here we go. Favorite concert you ever attended?
Celine Dion with two of my best friends when we
Oh,
had seats in the 300 levels, but they were obstructed. And I went to guest services and we got upgraded to the floor.
wow.
Yes, it was amazing. So we had floor. We somehow, I mean, the universe came together. It was amazing.
Uh, I mean, I can just only imagine that had to be one of the lifetime type of performances she put
Yes.
on because she's
Yeah.
amazing. No
She's
question about
amazing. Right before the pandemic, before she got sick. Yeah.
that. Okay, I like that. Okay, favorite place you've ever traveled to?
That is a loaded question. Oh God, I'm terrible at this game. Ugh, there's just something about New York City.
Mm, yes, it is. Definitely good Brooklyn style pizza there. If you ever had that, I'm not sure if you have, but
Oh yeah.
definitely. And it's bumper to bumper. Like there is people literally walking on top of you there. If you ever had a chance to go to New York City, I have. It's great. I would say Cabo San Lucas for me, Mexico. That was a trip I would never forget. It was amazing, no
Yeah,
question.
Cabo is beautiful.
Yes, it is, and no question about that. Two-part question: favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person? Can be the same sport.
Okay. Favorite sport to watch on TV is football, NFL, college football, because when you watch it in person, it takes so long. And at least
Mm-hmm.
at home, like I love going to football games, don't get me wrong, but like the timeouts for commercials, it can drag on. And someone who has attention issues, it can be a little much. Favorite sport to see in person is baseball. Always, always will be, always. It just I do have to be honest though, like there's times now with the pitch clock, like I'm not a purist by any means of the imagination. I know that baseball needed to be speeded up. I know that they needed to do something to reinvigorate the fan base. I am by no means saying like go back to the way it was 100 years
Sure,
ago.
sure.
But when you go to a game and it takes 2 hours, you're like, well, okay, what do I do with the rest of my night? Like there
Mm-hmm.
is something about like it's just like a little too fast sometimes. And I get that it ebbs and flows, but that's my thought.
No, no, and you're absolutely right because ever since they implemented that pitch clock, the games have been sped up a little bit. You wonder, like, man, okay, like I understand how it was back in the day. Yes, pitchers would take all day just to throw one pitch. I get it. But sometimes the games can be a little bit too fast, and that's not really entertaining either, or either, I should say. So I'm totally with you on that. I would probably say basketball for me. I would love to watch in person. And I'm saying with you, football. I do like attending football games, but it's a lot better when I can, press TiVo, press pause, go use the bathroom, come back, watch the game, and be like that. I love that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, last of the favorites. Favorite restaurant you like to eat at?
Oh, goodness. Favorite restaurant I like to eat at. Ugh. Okay, I'm gluten free, and I've been gluten free now, actually since the night of the Celine Dion concert, and I that just happens to be the truth. I love Jersey Mike's because Jersey Mike's has gluten free bread, and there are so few places that have gluten free bread. So anytime I can get a sandwich is like a gift from the gods. And Jersey Mike's, like, there's nothing better. Like, you get a Jersey Mike's, you're going to the beach or whatever it is. Like, I'm just the happiest person.
I love it. No, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I've tried Jersey Mike's for the first time last year,
Okay.
uh, when I went up to Minneapolis to cover some sports. And it was pretty good. It was
Yeah.
okay. Pretty good. So yeah, that's what's up. I like that. I want to talk to you now about your day to day.
Okay.
Now obviously you've done many different roles, but talk to me about what Lindsay does when she wakes up in the morning, when it's a work day. Is it different from do you have an off season of stuff, or is it just full steam ahead all year? But also talk to me about your podcast, the Refocus podcast that you do, and the start of it, why'd you start it, and what's it about?
Yeah. So I actually am in a little bit of an off season, and it's not an off season because I don't want to be working. So a little backstory: in March of 2023, I was diagnosed with a rare incurable disease called dermatomyositis, and
Ooh,
it has turned my life upside down. And I don't work right now because my health is my full-time job. So
sure.
just to put it into perspective, from the time I got sick, so I was sick for about 2 months before I was diagnosed. So if we go back to like mid-January of 2023, we're talking like 18 months. In
Okay.
18 months, which is like 560 some days, I've had over 290 doctor's visits. Like,
Ooh,
that is like one every other day or so. And
right.
that doesn't that doesn't take into account that this fall I was in the hospital for 24 days. So I spent 18 days in September in the hospital, and then another 6 in November. And I worked through all of that. And then in January, the funding that I had for my podcast, Refocused, that was cut. And so the company that I had been working with to produce Refocused pulled funding. And I'm working on reframing it as, had that not happened these last 7 months, I would have been working at the same speed I have. Like, I have one speed, and it is full speed ahead. Every moment of every day is busy until I get burnt out, and then I relax and I rest and I recuperate, and then I do it all over again.
I
So when I
love it.
say like I'm in this off season, I'm working right now on reevaluating what is important to me and where I want to put my focus. And it's actually been really wonderful. You mentioned you're a people pleaser. I am also a people pleaser.
Mhm.
And I have spent my whole life putting other people's priorities or what I
Yep.
think I should be doing ahead of what I really want to be doing. And so it's been really great right now to get to reevaluate what that looks like. And I am relaunching the podcast with a new name and a new feel. And when we launched Refocused, it was this amazing collaboration with a telemedicine mental health care company. And it was built as a resource for patients. So people who had sought out an ADHD diagnosis. And so we were diving into some of the most critical things attached to ADHD. And I had a team I worked with, like, I had a managing editor and a coordinating producer, and these were people I loved to work with. And we just had this wonderful connection over something that we were also passionate about, which is, increasing access to the things that people need in order to address their mental health. And so I got to go to the international conference for ADHD. I got to present at South by Southwest. I hosted a panel at South by Southwest on entrepreneurship and mental health, like all of these amazing opportunities. And it was really hard when I lost the funding, because I didn't lose the funding because they didn't like the project anymore. I lost the funding because it was a business decision. And I had never lost a job because of a business decision. I had always connected that to, it's me. I did something. And so I
Right.
really had to work through the feelings of like, no, it wasn't me. I did an amazing job. Like,
Mhm.
not only was I creating this incredible podcast and getting to connect with people and really just putting my heart and soul into it, like I was doing all of that while being incredibly sick and navigating this horrible new normal of
Right.
what is my life going to be. And so now I'm working on figuring out what I really want and how I look at it. And I think it's so important that we all prioritize, but for somebody who's dealing with chronic illness, the way I look at it is, if I get 4 good hours in the day, let's say that's what my body is capable of giving me, what do I want to spend those 4 hours doing? And anything that's not on that list has to go, because we only get a short amount of time on this earth. And the last thing any of us want is to be like at the end of it and holding regrets, right? Like I
Sure.
mentioned, like having regrets about college and all of the things, the woulda, shoulda, couldas, carrying that around, that is baggage you do not need, but you also don't want to keep adding to it. And so that, I think, is something that I'm really working on addressing, is cutting out all the waste, cutting it, getting it out of there. And that's not necessarily even just projects, that's people, that's stuff, that's
Mhm.
habits, good, bad, all of it. So
Mhm.
it's for as busy as I am with dealing with my health and trying to get healthy and holding out hope that I'll get there, I am always dreaming and scheming and really holding on to the hope that like what comes next is going to be even better than what I built before this.
Right. Absolutely. And again, I appreciate your transparency on talking about it. That's the exciting part about it. Can it be scary? Sure, but the exciting part is what comes next, right? Everybody gets hit with hurdles again, and you got hit with a hell of a hurdle. There's no question about it. I'm not even going to try to act like I know how that feels, because I don't. But at the same
We all have
time,
our stuff.
we all have our stuff. And this is how you dealt with it. Some people don't deal with it like you do. Some people crumble. It's just a fact of life. Some people rise above it. And you're rising above that. And I love to hear you say, listen, I'm gonna attack this head on. We're gonna rebrand, refocus, even though the funding uh didn't go my way, or decision didn't go my way, I'm still gonna keep pushing forward because I have a vision, I have a goal. And anytime that something happens like that, where you say somebody takes something away from you, you always point to yourself. That's a natural progression. What did I do? What could I have done to prevent that? Right? There's probably some of the thoughts that went through your mind.
Oh
But
yeah.
at the same time, it's like, you gotta let go. And I'm really kind of a strong biblical person. I'm not trying to, impose my biblical onto you or anybody else that I do at this podcast, but I just let go and let God. Let go and let God, because you can control what you can control, and then you keep moving forward. So I love to hear that about your story. But it brings a great segue question of mental health, because you have been going through it. No question about it, especially the past 18 months. Now, the reason why I asked this question of mental health is because most journalists hear the words burnout, overworked, underpaid. Those are three words that really keep cycling around in this industry. And you see a lot of people drop out and go to different forms of communication, such as PR or marketing or whatever it may be. So I want to ask you, how do you keep your mental health strong dealing with what you deal with, but also have that work-life balance as well, right? Because obviously, Lindsay, you seem like somebody who I certainly wouldn't mind being around or hanging out with. Now, you have plenty of friends down there where you are, but you also seem like you're about business as well and about your hard work. So how do you balance those two, but also keep your mental health strong dealing with what you've been dealing with?
Okay, I don't have a balance at all, but I appreciate that it looks that way. That is something that I'm working on.
Right.
I think therapy is so important. And I
Okay.
think we have a huge misconception of what therapy is. I think so many people envision like a dark room with lots of wood and books and like you lying on a couch. And yeah, sure, that might be therapy for one person, but like therapy is so personal. And what I found in therapy is that a lot of the things I struggled with, task completion, initiation, organization, those were things that we really worked on with like making lists and talking about priorities and talking about the connections to like why the example I'll use, like, why am I so hesitant to put myself out there with fear of rejection? And then, like, on the flip side, like, if we were at lunch and your food came and it was wrong, like, I would have no problem sending your food back. But would I send my own food back? Absolutely not. So, like,
Right.
working through a lot of that and connecting the why to why we make decisions or why we behave the way we do has
Mhm.
been so important. I will say, like, as odd as it might sound, I am a happier person today than I was before my diagnosis. And
Mm.
it it is the cliche, when you get a life-changing diagnosis or something happens to you and your life changes, you get a very, very healthy dose of perspective. And
Yeah, you do.
all of the things that you carry around and you let bother you and you let hold you back and weigh you down, they don't matter as much anymore. And you start to see it in other people. You start to see what they allow to affect them.
Yep.
And I hope that everyone gets that in a much less dramatic fashion, because the sooner it happens, the sooner you can let that all go. And yes, it does come with age. Had this happened to me in my 20s, it would be a much different experience than it
Sure.
is happening to me in my 30s. I have a better sense of kind of not only what's at stake if I do allow that to control me,
Hmm.
but also understanding, what's ahead of me and what's possible. And I think too, in my 20s, I thought that was it. I thought, like, if I haven't made it by my 20s, it's never going to happen. And
Right.
now in my 30s, I'm like, oh my God, like, there's so much time to come. And I think we often see the one person in our field who is representative of what we want. And, like, yes, there are those people who get what they want in their 20s, but we
Sure.
don't know the backstory. We don't know what they did before to get there. We don't know what leg ups they had to get there. We don't
Right.
know anything. Like,
Right.
it's a flash in the pan. Like, it just sometimes happens. Lightning strikes and that happens. The rest of us, like, have to have a much more logical approach to our own dreams and goals. And it's really hard to see that because we love to compare ourselves, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it's natural to do. Like, man, I can do what he's doing, or I can do what she's doing,
Why is
but
it not me?
why is it not me? Right? You ask those questions all the time. And I love what you just said is that when you're in your 20s, you feel like life is just timeless. You feel like you got an abundance of time. You feel like things can, just okay, this is happening, but I got plenty of time. And once again, when you get older, it's not that you don't think you have plenty of time to do it, but you're more laser focused on what you need to do to get there. So, right?
Right.
It's not like you're trying to be like, oh, I'm wasting time. Like every moment matters, every decision you make matters. And there's one thing that you said in there also life changing. My father, and I'll tell you this before I get to the next question. My father had a heart attack in 2014. And the reason why I said that is I hadn't seen him for almost 4 years. I was going through a pretty rough stretch in my life, um, not being able to consistently really just take care of all of my bills, to be honest with you. Right. And I was in my 20s at that time, early 20s at that time. So I was trying to be able to make time to see my mom, see my dad, because they were both in different states. But I vowed to myself in 2014 after he had that heart attack and almost died. I was like, you know what? I got to start making some better decisions about my life, job wise, family wise, health wise, all the above. And I said, I'm never going to go another year without not seeing my parents, both of them, my mother and my father, which are separated now in my 30s, because I'm also in my 30s as well. And from that point on, I was like, I don't want to be in a position where I get the phone call and one of my parents passed away and I hadn't seen them in so long. I don't want to be in a position where I can't pay for a plane trip or a train trip or be able to go somewhere because it was like that then where I can't go see them or can't go see my family or my loved ones. And that had to start with me making better decisions about as far as job goes, budgeting, balancing goals, and you don't learn those things sometimes until you have tragic instances in your life. You don't realize what is the most important until things get put into perspective. Family is very important to me. It probably is important to everybody on the planet, but depending on where your pecking order is, family is number one for me, no question. So I wanted to change, and I had to change, and I had to become a little bit more mature, a little bit more smarter. And since then, obviously, it's been great. But perspective is key, and that's what you said. Perspective is so key because once you get hit with those kind of moments, either you sit down, you think about it, and you really once again put it into perspective, or you just have a nonchalant attitude about it. It's only going to go two ways, in my opinion. So I appreciate you once again, you being transparent and saying that.
No, thank you for sharing that with me. I'm so sorry to hear that. It is like we said, everyone has their thing, right?
Sure.
It's not a comparison game. We're all just trying to do our best.
Yeah. And, you know, I want to know if someone, Lindsay, came up to you and said, hey, you know what? I want to do what you do, right? Whether it's hosting, whether it's producing, whether it's reporting, right? Because you've done all those things. Whether it's a graduate that came out of the University of Minnesota or a college graduate that from another school or an intern with a station, or maybe even an older person like myself that maybe got a little bit of seasoning on him or her. What kind of advice would you give that individual about pursuing their dreams in this industry?
Well, it is different now than it would have been 10, 15 years ago. My answer. People today have an opportunity to be creators on their own. And so not only are journalists competing with their fellow peers, people that they went to school with, they're also competing with content creators online. So it's kind of a double whammy. The number of times I kind of am told that I don't have a large enough social media following for the job. And then on the flip side, I hear all the time of influencers being hired for jobs, but then they can't do the job. And so then they have to rehire for the job. So it is this weird area we're in of fighting against experience versus kind of clout. And so if it were me right now and I wanted to start off, I would start doing everything I could on my own. And that is doing your own podcast, that is reporting on social media, that is getting in front of the camera and becoming more comfortable, that it, all of those things are building your talent. Like, yeah, you're not necessarily going to put all of that on your resume, but your skills are going to shine through. And, I was so lucky that I got my foot in with internships and I was a little bit older. I had gone through the college stuff and was starting to trying to figure out life. So I was 23 when I got kind of my first internships and I looked at them differently, meaning like I showed up on time and I contributed and I had ideas and I brought stuff to the table and I wasn't waiting to be told what to do. And that initiative really, really helped me stand out because I was, competing against much younger people who were just showing up because they needed an internship for college credit. Whereas for me, like this was like the step forward. This was me building those relationships. One thing that I wish I had done a better job of was establishing good relationships with the people I worked with. And again, I'm not trying to blame everything on my ADHD, but I was very insecure. I did not know how to connect with people outside of having conversations, but I didn't know like the follow-up. I didn't know the like, hey, let's get lunch, let's do this. Like I never asked somebody to be my mentor. I didn't know that was like a thing you could do.
Right.
And I think I would have really benefited from having somebody looking out for me. And so like I look back and I wish I had leaned into that more.
I love that. I truthfully love that answer.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, please do.
Every time you can be honing your writing skills. That is one way. If you want to be somebody that they will keep around, be a good writer, be a consistent writer, find a balance between being able to be strategic and knowing how to write as a print journalist, but
Yep.
also being able to have the chops to be creative and to, write first person scenarios and sell it, because you can connect with people on a level that you'll just be so surprised by. Like, print is not dead. Print is not dead. It is being reinvigorated in a different way. But
Sure.
being a good writer is the quickest way to kind of be indispensable.
1000% agree with that. Me working in the print business in Atlanta a little bit, then coming out here to Minnesota, working in the print, no question about it. If you can continue to enhance your skill in writing, you're going to be an asset to any company. No question about that. Lindsay, it's time to do another game. It's called This or That. Okay. So what this is I'm throwing things at you and you get to choose one or the other. All right. So first question I want to ask you though, do you like chicken?
Yes.
Okay. So here we go. Now, you may not eat these two, but I'm going to throw these out. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
Lindsay, I know we're going to be very good, girl. We're going to be strong friends now. We good now. We good. Yes, indeed. Although I
it's
just
like a
want to,
no-brainer.
right. Although I want to say Raising Cane's, y'all on the rise. I just want to say that. Y'all on the rise, no doubt. Barbecue or lemon pepper as far as the flavor of wings?
Oh, barbecue.
Okay. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
I like both.
Okay.
Can I pick both? I wouldn't
Which
discriminate.
Which one is 51%? Which one is 49%?
I'll go dry just because I'm a very messy eater.
Okay. I'm messy too. I like them wet. I ain't gonna lie. Okay. Do you like them bone in or boneless?
I do like bone in, but like there is something just easier about boneless. But I
Right.
know it is like, it's sacrilegious to even say that, but like it's just a chicken nugget. Like, let's be honest. Like, let's stop calling it a boneless wing. It's a chicken nugget.
Listen, I don't mind eating my wings with a fork and dipping them. I don't mind getting that.
Oh, and they got the crunchy on the outside, but no, like yes,
Absolutely.
like a classic wing for sure, like is great.
Okay.
But like, who doesn't love a chicken nugget?
I know I don't. I'm not gonna turn them down. That's for sure. No question. Okay. Let me ask you this: Tom Brady or Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning.
Okay. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Hockey or basketball?
Basketball.
Okay. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Bowling.
Are you a good bowler?
I actually impressed my high school gym coach. We had one of those gym classes where you did all the different little sections, and bowling was one of them. And we walked downtown, the small town I lived into the bowling alley, and like every day I got a turkey. I'm not saying that I could repeat that now, but there was a time in life where I was a good bowler.
Okay. Now if I come out to Minneapolis, we may have to put that test of theory, Lindsay. Okay.
I am in boneless wings and bowling, right?
I mean, hey, you can't go wrong with that. It brings a smile to my face. That's for sure. Okay. These next 4 questions have to do with music concerts. Okay. You rather attend. So here we go. Which music concert would you rather attend? Would you rather go see Janet Jackson or would you rather go see Mariah Carey? These are tough. These are tough ones.
Mariah Carey.
Okay. I got you. I like that. All right. Which concert would you rather attend? Would you rather go see Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen?
Luke Combs.
He's pretty good, isn't he? Pretty good.
Yeah. Yes. He's very good. Yes.
Yes. And both of them are good, by the way. Both are very good. But yes. I'm not a huge country person, but Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen, I'll definitely listen to them for sure. Okay. Next one. Which person would you rather see in concert? Would you rather go see Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera?
Britney Spears.
Okay. That was pretty quick. You said that quickly. Okay. I like that. Which concert would you rather see in person? This is going to be my favorite. Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Oh God, it is, and okay. I got to be honest. I am so out of this. Is the debate, right? The who's better, Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Hmm.
Um, Kendrick Lamar.
Okay. That listen, you picked the right one. I touched, but you picked the right one. So that's okay. That's all right.
Like I feel like I'm the boomer where I'm like, I'm sorry, who are these people? Like, and I obviously know who they are, but like I know the big debate about the back and forth of who's better. And like Tom Hanks even like chimed in. Have you seen that amazing meme that his son
Hmm.
released? Like the text, like, isn't that the most endearing thing ever? Like Tom Hanks is even invested in like the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake.
Yeah,
Like, you just
that
love
was
it.
shocking. That was
Yeah.
absolutely shocking. I didn't
Yeah.
see that. But listen, so I feel the same way about coffee. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life. Never. Never drunk coffee before. And people talk about it all the time. It's like, Chris, why haven't you drunk coffee before? Yeah, my whole family does, but I never had coffee before. I never even had popcorn before. I never had popcorn before. Why did you
Why?
make that?
Coffee I can get. Like I know a lot of people who've never had coffee, but popcorn, really?
Yeah, never
Do
never
you
had popcorn.
do you eat corn?
Yeah, sweet corn. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you just never had it popped.
Yeah, yeah, never had a popcorn. Like they say, when you go to the movies, what do
Yeah.
you eat? Well, I typically, well, when I was a kid and I went to the movies, my mother would stop at the dollar store. She had her big purse, and we used to buy the dollar store snacks and get them in. And then my dad would do the same when I went over to his house. Now, as I got older, I would buy popcorn like for a date if I had a date, or if I was with my boys watching something, they would buy popcorn. But typically me, I was a gelatin person. So anything gummy, I loved it. Anything that those cookie dough bites.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, I love those. I used to eat those too. So, and I would get
Okay.
a drink. So
Okay.
yeah, I just never had it. But uh, this is two more of this or that. Do you like desserts?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to name four categories of desserts, and you have to choose one of these you'll never eat again.
Never eat again. Okay. Well, you
Never
said
eat again.
four. Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Cookies is one.
Okay.
Cake is two.
Okay.
Okay. Candy is three.
Okay.
Ice cream is four. Which one are you getting rid of?
Oh. Okay, so I have to preface this that I've been on high dose prednisone for 18 months. So I am a sugar monster. So, like, I was not an ice cream person. Like, you ask my best friend, like, I've eaten more ice cream in the last 18 months than I have my entire life. Ice cream has been like just a gift, it's been a
Okay.
coping mechanism.
Mm,
I think I'm going to go cookies, ice cream, candy, cake. I think I'm going to say cake.
okay.
It came down to cake
Okay.
or candy. Can't do cookies and ice cream. Well, cookies are just like no, they're not going anywhere.
I
The
feel it.
other three are the other three. I'm like, but I'll say cake.
Okay. I would have chose candy
Okay.
myself because I'm a huge red velvet person. I love red
Ah.
velvet cake. So that's me. Okay. Do you eat potato chips?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So same format,
Okay.
four brands. You got to get rid of one of these brands you'll
Oh.
never eat again.
Okay.
Just to preface this, one of the brands is not Cheetos. So no,
Okay.
it won't be Cheetos. Okay.
I do love Cheetos.
Me too. Um, First brand is Doritos.
Okay.
Second brand is Ruffles.
Okay.
The third brand is Pringles.
Ooh, okay.
The fourth one is Lay's.
This
Which
is
one are
so
you getting rid of?
easy. This is so easy. It's Pringles. I think Pringles are so overrated. Are we done? Is that it? Did our friendships ended? Everything's done?
No, no, we're close, but not. We ain't to the edge yet. We're not to the edge,
Can
so
I
we're
tell
good.
you why though? Is like it
Yeah.
is my hand does not fit well into the container. And then if they get broken, it's not enjoyable. So it just is it to me, it's a waste. Like
Can I
it's too much work.
can I ask you? Are you a salt and vinegar person?
I do like salt and vinegar, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Everybody that I've asked that said they didn't like Pringles are salt and vinegar people that love chips. They love those. They love salt and vinegar chips, which is the second worst chip ever made.
I
Ever
mean,
made.
they wouldn't be my first choice. Like I actually my latest kick has been Cool Ranch Doritos. Oh, I'm obsessed. Like
Me too.
just like and I get the big bag Cool Ranch
Mm-hmm.
Doritos.
Mm-hmm.
I like Cheetos. I really like baked Lays, so they're like the more potatoey, like they're a little bit crunchier. But like
Yes.
to me, nothing is better than. So I know you're new to Minnesota in a sense. Has anyone introduced you to Top the Tater yet?
Oh my gosh, Lindsay, I was about to ask you that damn question. That was my next follow up question
Sorry.
was, have you topped the tater? Like,
Oh,
I mean, I haven't. And I want you to show me because
oh,
I want you to show me top the tater and I will show you something. Okay. When we link up. How about that?
okay. I love it. Yes, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yes. Because they talk about it at my work and I'm like, top the what? They said
Yeah.
top the tater. I was like, I don't even know. I don't think I want to know what the hell that is. I think I
You
just want to
need
be surprised.
you need to find like the perfect balance where like those days where you could just eat and eat and eat and like nothing is you never yeah you need that and like a comfy chair and Top the Tater and like the perfect chip. Yeah, you'll be good.
Okay. All right. Say less. I'm gonna let you show me that, and then I'll give you you'll see my reaction. How about that?
Perfect.
Okay. Now, if Lindsay wasn't involved in communications, okay, and didn't have anything to do with media or anything else, what career would she have pursued and why?
God, the first thing that came to mind right now, and it's because
Mhm.
I love to sew, is I would have maybe been a fashion designer. And I love making my own things. I love altering. Like I'll buy a piece of clothing at like a vintage store or a thrift store and I'll cut it up or change things. I love doing that. But I also even I say that and like I would never have settled for anything other than being like the next Calvin Klein. So like it would have been a dangerous path to go down because so few people become the next Calvin Klein. But like I
Sure.
love creating anything where I can create. Like I would have loved to be an interior designer.
Hmm.
I love cooking. Like I used to cook on TV. I thought that was a path I was going to go down. So like anything of like making stuff. Like I almost went back to school to become an interior designer. Like I used to rehab furniture. Like I would buy old furniture online and like restore it. So like I've lived a lot of lives, but like anything where I could make stuff. Just get excited and throw things around.
That's okay. That's all right. I did a little bit of background before, we came on here and I saw that you had a reel that I saw from your time from WCCO. I saw that you did do some cooking on TV. And I wanted to ask you, what was your favorite thing that you made on TV as you were cooking?
Oh man, I developed the most amazing monster cookie recipe. And it's one of those where I've kind of removed a lot of the food stuff off my website because it's really not what I'm focusing on right now. But I don't take that off because I get so many hits from Pinterest because some blogger found it who has millions of followers. And like
Yeah.
this recipe gets me more hits than anything on my website. And it is the perfect cookie. It is like, and you have to keep in mind, remember, I'm gluten free. So everything I develop is gluten free. And so there's
Yes.
no flour in it. So you use the oatmeal. And so it almost is this like granola bar cookie with M&Ms and M's and chocolate. It's amazing.
I'm gonna have to try one of those, girl. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to try
Yeah.
one of those.
We'll do Top the
Okay.
Tater and monster cookies.
Yes, absolutely. My God. I mean, that the monster cookies definitely sound pretty good. I want to ask you about advice. What is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Oh God. Uh, that is
Oh,
a
this must be
that
a
is a
good question.
is a great question.
Mm.
Okay, it's when I lived in New York, I got to be friends with this amazing woman named Amanda. And Amanda was a lifelong New Yorker. And she taught me the invaluable lesson of pee when you can, not when you have to. And what that means is anytime there's a bathroom and you can use it because you don't know when the next time that you'll have a bathroom is. And that could be presented for a lot of things in life. But
Mm.
if you've ever been to a major city where you don't have a plethora of being able to walk into any store and use a bathroom, it is not the most deep advice I've ever been given, but it is the one that I hold on to the most.
I can tell you this: I've never in my life heard a saying like that before, but I damn sure will keep it in my mind. That's for sure.
Exactly. Right. We've
That's
all
amazing.
think about how many times you've been someplace where you could have used a bathroom and you go, oh, I should have gone there. Nope. You pee when you can, not when you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question. I'll be like, oh, I can hold it. I can hold it for a little bit. And then all of a sudden you'd be like, damn, I got to drive to the nearest like convenience store or store anywhere to stop it to use it. So I totally understand that. Rapid fire questions. We're coming up to almost to the end. So what I want you to do is to say the first thing that comes to your mind based upon these rapid fire questions. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Favorite color?
Yellow.
Favorite sports movie?
Little Big League. Oh, Mighty Ducks. Mighty Ducks.
Ooh, yeah,
Mighty
that's
Ducks
a good
2. One. Mighty Ducks 2.
Mighty Ducks 2. Mine is Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams. Okay. Favorite card game?
Cribbage.
I don't think I've ever played that. Cribbage.
Oh.
Okay.
Another Midwest thing you'll be getting introduced to.
Okay, that's what's up. All right. Spades or dominoes?
I've never played either of them. Wait, Spades is Spades a card game?
Yes.
Yeah, I've played Spades, so I'll say Spades because that's it. I've only done the dominoes where like they tip over. I don't know what that does. My brain can't work that way.
That's okay. That's all right. See, that's something I could teach you. Dominoes. That's what's
up.
There
we go.
Hamburgers or tacos?
Tacos.
Okay. Waffles or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Okay. If you had 3 albums that you can listen to without no skips, what would those 3 albums be?
I mean, I'll just say anything Taylor Swift. Like you could just throw anything Taylor Swift on there.
Oh, okay. If you had 3 people that you can take on an exotic vacation to anywhere that you want to go to, what would those 3 people be and where would you go?
Oh, I would go to, I would love to go and do like the African safari. And I would take my mom and it's hard. I can't really take one of my sisters because then I don't have enough space. So I would take my mom and I would take my friend Farah and then I would take my partner John because the 4 of us would have a really, really good time together.
That is awesome. I love that. I love it. Okay. If you had an opportunity to be one of these positions like full time, because you've done many different roles, which role would you choose of these 3? Would you choose producer? Would you choose podcast host? Or would you choose reporter? Which one?
Podcast host.
Oh, okay. Okay. I like that. Favorite alcoholic drink?
Oh, right now it's Pacifico with extra lime.
Ooh, that's pretty good. That's damn good, Lindsay. Okay. All right. I didn't know you knew nothing about that. That's pretty good. Okay. All right. I like it. Favorite sport that you feel you can dominate in? Like if you played that sport, I would be dominant in playing it.
No, there isn't really anything. No, like a dominant. That's like, well, I guess I should have probably prefaced the whole disease thing is that the disease I have affects my muscles. So there's not a lot of things that I'm dominant at sports wise. Okay, so I will say, if I were to things that I was good at prior, I'm really good at running long distances. I just am not fast. So that could be it. Like I've done marathons. I'm not like a marathon winner. So like,
I love it. Okay. Now, what sport would you be least good in? Now, obviously, it seems like there's a lot of sports that you might can pick from, but what sport would you, for me, it would be hockey because I can't skate.
Okay, so I
So
can skate.
what would you do?
Ooh, swimming. Like I can swim. I'm not good. Like I can't get the feet down. It's like I can swim, don't get me wrong. Like I used to have to like tread water for 10 minutes at summer camp in order to get like the highest wristband. Like I can
Okay.
hold my own. The like different strokes and stuff. Like if I try to do the backstroke, like people go in a straight line, I'm like, I'm this. I
Yeah.
just there's no, yeah, not for
Okay.
me.
Last one of the rapid fire. You got to pick if you got a game ticket. If somebody was going to buy you a game ticket for all VIP, all exclusive, you can go on the field pregame, postgame. Which one of these teams would you want to go see? Would you want to see Minnesota United FC? Would you want to see the Lynx, the Timberwolves, the Twins, the Wild, or the Vikings? Which Minnesota team would you pick to go see?
Like and I get like the whole behind the scenes stuff.
All behind the scenes, everything, all VIP exclusive.
Hmm. If Lindsay
Any,
Whalen still played for the Lynx, I would say the Lynx for sure.
mm,
And I got to do a lot of that with the Twins, so that feels like it would be counterproductive. So I mean the Timberwolves, like I'll go Timberwolves. Like they're
okay.
coming off a great season. Like yeah, yeah.
Basketball is my favorite sport, so I love that answer, no doubt. Um, the last question I would have for you is there anything else that you would like to add about yourself, your story, your journey, before we conclude? This has been a really, really excellent conversation. I love this.
I had so much fun. This was a lot of fun. Oh gosh. If you are watching this and you are in the need for somebody who is a jack of all trades, who's got a ton of experience in a ton of different places and is looking for flexible work, hit me up, because that's kind of the next path is figuring out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. And I'm terrible at asking for help. So if, something sparked some interest in you that you were like, oh, that would be a great fit, like, hi.
I love it. I love it. And I would definitely keep that in mind myself. Lindsay, this has been an excellent, excellent conversation. Thank you so much for hopping on my podcast and really sharing your story and your journey. We will definitely be in touch. No question about that.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, boneless wings, Domino's,
Mm-hmm.
top
Phase two.
potato, monster
Yep.
cookies,
Yep.
bowling. We got it.
We got a lot to do, right? And you're not that far away. So I
Yeah.
definitely will be gracing your presence. And once again, we will definitely get to that. And I want you to enjoy the rest of your wonderful, wonderful Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was great meeting you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye.